Welcome to our Youth Work Week showcase.
We're here tonight to celebrate the incredible work that's been done to support young Londoners during 2020.
Please make some noise and join the conversation on social media using the hashtag YWW20. Here's what's to come this evening.
Opening the event, we have a spoken word piece by Georgia.
You'll also hear from our Chief Executive, Rosemary, on the state of London youth sector in 2020.
We'll hear from Margaret, a member of our youth board, as she reflects on the challenges faced by young people this year and how we can overcome these.
Following this, we'll be hearing from our president, Sir Kenneth Olisa, who will be introducing our new patron.
His Royal Highness, Prince Edward, who will be announcing the winner of the Prince Philip Award.
We'll be showcasing videos from our members who'll be telling you exactly what they've been up to this year and how they've responded to the incredible challenges 2020 has unfortunately brought.
Throughout the evening, you'll hear from our youth board. And to round off the event, we have a performance by Shakz, a rapper from one of our members.
This is an online event, so if you do have any issues with your internet connection, please feel free to rejoin the call.
And do use the chat feature to share your reactions.
And make sure to keep things positive and respectful, as there are young people on this call.
We'd love to hear from you on social media, so please do get involved by using the hashtag YWW20.
Kicking off our showcase, delighted to welcome Georgia.
Why do we always cuss this generation? I was going to write a piece about everything that is wrong, but how is the foundation ever going to be strong? The foundation we are building is weak and crumbling beneath our feet. Everything anyone ever speaks to this generation is negative. Adults are the first ones to cuss this generation. Back in my day, it was never like this. Well, welcome to the 21st century, where temptation pops its head around every corner and our opinions are restricted with a border, because how dare we get the right to vote for our future? Knife crime is on all-time high, but they never let the youth speak. They'd rather turn their noses down at a specific group of people because he has melanin in his skin. They don't ever want to see a black man win. It's a never-ending loop of stereotyping. You see, the London that the tourists see is not the London I grew up in. Sorry, I said this wouldn't be too negative. But do you see how easy it is to focus on the bad, but on our feet do we stand to see the positive? I see young people doing more than Boris. And this generation may not be perfect, but trust me, we are worth it. We are creatives, explorers, sightseer wonders, billionaires and dreamers. We are the best generation. Adding to the growing population, don't tell me we are wrong for simply playing the cards that the ones before us passed on. You left us in rubble, we are out here making meaningful trouble. Every time you try to stop us, watch our opportunities double. We are unstoppable, a masterpiece in our own bubble. We are the best generation.
I've been involved with youth work for a long time now, and I have seen its transformative power. I've worked with young people in a pupil referral unit, and I've witnessed some of those moments when they've seen more clearly the forces shaping their lives, but also the choices open to them and their own potential. I've worked with LGBT young people at a time when the law was telling them to feel ashamed, but youth work help connect them to a sense of pride. And I've seen hundreds of young people deliver powerful projects for social change. Clocking up years in youth work, I like to think I've got some really interesting experiences on my CV. But nothing in that experience has been like these last months. These last months have been emotional. For some that have been grieving, for nearly all of us, I think they've been really challenging. It's evident looking forward that there are going to be further challenges. I know that some really good organisations in our network will come under financial pressure. Some really good youth workers will lose their jobs. At London Youth, we've lost colleagues at our outdoor adventure centres which can't operate at the moment. Early in my career, I worked for Newham Outdoor Education Service. The magic of the experience that young people have at Hindleap and Woodrow is really close to my heart, and to lose brilliant members of our team there is frankly gutting. over these last months, young people have needed someone to talk to, someone to rely on. As the poet Georgia just said, if young people are going to be strong, they need to be building on strong foundations. And youth workers support young people to lay those foundations. I've personally found it totally humbling to see how youth workers have responded. Across our network, we've seen one-to-one sessions delivered online, boxing sessions delivered online, doorstep conversations, important and profound conversations about race and equality. Youth workers have adapted and keep on adapting. I find that amazing at a time when it's not just our work lives, but our personal and home lives that come under strain. It's been totally clear over the last months. So I wanted to say a personal thank you, and it feels a bit inadequate, to everyone who has contributed. From everything that I've seen, I know going forward that you're going to continue to adapt, to continue to support young people, and to find amazing, creative and caring ways to connect. And I hope that the radical essence of youth work, which I've always felt is in supporting young people to question, to reflect and to act, will mean that this generation is able to be out there making meaningful trouble. And now it's fantastic that we're still able, even on a Zoom call, to involve DARE, our youth board. And I'm going to hand over to Margaret from DARE.
My name is Margaret. I'm 24 years old, making me an older volunteer. To anybody still feeling out of place, you still count and you're supposed to be here. Now rise. During these times, self-development has been left in our hands as the framework of many institutions fall or battle in the face of COVID-19. Must we feel alone? No. Even during lockdown, being connected to a youth organisation can help to check in with your well-being, your sense of direction, and also gain experience. They also allow you to provide opportunities you may be interested and want to be a part of, but also facilitate your own development and your own journey. Why do I encourage it and know we need it during these times? Because I too have struggled and have benefited from support myself. Being a young person has changed during 2020. The coming of age focuses such as career, study route, job, work experience, establishing yourself within your community socially and proactively. All these things have changed and call for reformation. Holding on to what is left, such as our friends, our family, our health, our patience, our hard work and faith. We do not completely know what lies ahead of us, but together we will rise, again in love and resilience. It has been inspiring to see young people like my fellow DARE Londoners using tools at hand like the micro grants to set up community outreach and to help our loved ones. So jump in, join us. Furthermore, the huge increase within young entrepreneurship fills my heart with hope as we move towards a more ethical and sustainable future. Although many are having to step up and care for themselves, their elders, neighbours, and even their own families, although many are facing financial hardship due to redundancy, unemployment, and furlough, although our social wings may feel partially clipped, we continue to soar and rise, chasing our dreams, moving forward. Thank you to our wonderful community of youth work and the social sector, reminding us we are important and we will rise and shine in our light. Youth is youth, it's never too late. We are the future. Thank you.
One of the ways we've adapted to ensure young people on our youth board get the support they need is our youth action team throughout lockdown have continued to have weekly meetings to discuss the issues affecting them and young people across London. And here is our youth board talking about their experiences during 2020.
I've had a lot of kids still reaching out to me via Zoom calls and stuff. And it's helped me be able to feel like, as a youth worker for them, I can reach out and help them get resources through their London. So it's if I don't specifically know a company that could help them or a youth centre that could help them or something, it's always been, if you need it, I can ask through their London, or I can ask through my youth club, and it's given me a lot of resources to help as a youth worker, because a lot of youth work is face-to-face work, and it's definitely been quite hard. So I think a lot of youth workers have had to adapt to doing it via the internet as well. Having their London there has just always been helpful for any questions anyone has, or being able to help people to the fullest potential, I think.
That you don't realise how much impact you actually have in our lives. Like, I really enjoy going to a youth centre where you have that sort of moral support of your youth workers, especially on GCSE results day. They were so excited to find out what we got, and they were there to support us if they weren't the grades that we actually wanted, and they were trying to find ways around it for us, how, for example, someone could appeal something, and their support just is like unreal.
They've been the rock through this journey of lockdown. Don't think a lot of young people that go to youth clubs would be able to deal with it without the youth workers' support. And it shows the amount of effort, how far they would go. And you guys deserve the world. You deserve everything that you can possibly get, because a thank you is not all that we could say. A thank you is a small thing, and you guys deserve a lot more than that.
I mean, I just say that, like, kind of echoing of everyone else, it's just had a very important impact on a lot of young people, because where other like services or other elements of their normal everyday life may have not been continued or not as consistent, I think for me and the people that I know, I think everyone's kind of said that their youth services have continued to remain consistent throughout this, and have actually done a lot more than is entitled in the job. Like with food parcels, I know that my youth centre was handing those out happily. I mean, my dad was, who works there, was helping to hand those out every day, and I know that he said they had a great impact on a lot of people.
Yeah, I think just the same. A big thank you to everyone who's, they are at the same, like, frontline workers. They've been there providing that consistent support to young people, and even if it's like a small presence or like saying hi or just like a check up on your young people, it's like so important, and clearly everyone's so grateful. And yeah, just well done for being that support that young people need during this really difficult time.
Ordinarily, during Youth Work Week, we'd be hosting our annual London Youth Awards to recognise outstanding youth work. But as with many other things this year, this hasn't been possible. At last year's ceremony, we introduced our new president, Sir Ken Olisa, and I'm pleased to say that we'll be hearing from him now.
Good afternoon. It's been a little over a year since I was honoured to be asked to take over from Lord Guthrie as President of London Youth, and just about a year since our last awards ceremony. And what a difference a year makes. In 2019, we packed the chamber at City Hall and presented an impressive array of awards to an even more impressive set of winners. People and organisations which had made a positive difference to the life chances of young people across our great capital city. This year, COVID has put an end to in-person celebrations, but in true London Youth style, rather than forsaking our traditions, we have managed to recreate last year's uplifting experience online, courtesy not of the Mayor of London, but of Zoom Video Communications Incorporated of San Jose, California. As Lord Lieutenant of Greater London, Her Majesty's representative in the country's #1 city, I have seen that London Youth's rapid adaptation to changed circumstances has been repeated time and time again by countless organisations in every corner of London. Perhaps the biggest symbol of our adaptability was last spring's transformation of the Excel Centre into the city's NHS Nightingale Hospital, which took only 11 days. That proof of what we Londoners can do when we set our minds to it has been repeated thousands of times by volunteers and charities working in the nooks and crannies of our communities to support the needy and to maintain our legendary spirit. Nowhere is that more true than at London Youth. I'm delighted that the refusal to let the pandemic stop us from helping young people to achieve their potential has reached all the way from the head office under Rosemary's brilliant leadership through the network of member clubs to the young people themselves. As you have just seen from our Dare London colleagues, COVID-19 isn't the only contagion in town. The infectious enthusiasm of the previous speakers, their optimism and their adaptability go a long way to act as an antidote to the negative impact of the coronavirus. It is attitudes like theirs and the hard work which lies behind them which have ensured London's survival and prosperity since Roman times. And, with the support of everyone in this virtual room, we will show that Dare London's approach to adversity, forged in the face of some challenging lived experiences, will prevail for the benefit of all. London's youth gives us much to be proud of. A year ago, I had the honour of presenting the inaugural Prince Philip Award to the Jack Petchey Foundation in recognition of their decades of work, moral and monetary, to inspire and motivate young people and to recognise them for their achievements. The award was named in gratitude to His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, who was our first ever patron, and we were his first ever patronage, an honour which he bestowed on us for no less than 73 years. Our first patron retired from public life last year, but we are delighted that His Royal Highness Prince Edward has graciously stepped into his father's shoes as our second patron and is joining us today. It therefore gives me great pleasure to ask you to join me in welcoming to the screen His Royal Highness the Earl of Wessex, who will share with us his thoughts on the power of youth work.
Sir Ken, many thanks for that very kind introduction. And may I also wish you all a very good afternoon and add my welcome to this event. It was my sincere intention that my first engagement with London Youth as your patron should have been in person. And in spite of everyone's best endeavours, here we are in the virtual world. I trust it won't be too long before I can actually come and visit some of your clubs and groups and meet you face to face, to experience at first hand the fantastic work you're doing and to find out what inspires you. It was something of a surprise when I was invited to take over from my father, as quite frankly, I'm not perhaps as youthful as I once was. However, I am delighted and honoured to take on the role and to do my best to live up to your expectations. London Youth has a great reputation, and I know that my father particularly enjoyed his relationship with you, always found his visit stimulating, and impressed by the impact you have on so many young lives. Now, it's my pleasure to announce this year's winner of the Prince Philip Award, given to an organisational body which has made a significant contribution across London in support of youth organisations and young people. 2020 has been anything but a normal year. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected every aspect of life. Yet in other aspects, it hasn't been that different. It's just that we've been made much more aware of the human story. Whether that be tragedy, loss, struggle, challenge, or indeed ingenuity, imagination, resilience, compassion. In this country, we have for the most part seen communities coming together and looking out for each other. London Funders is one of those cross-sector membership networks that in most years will go about their business supporting civil society largely unnoticed. But in a year when a crisis seeks cohesion, expertise and leadership, London Funders came to the fore. By that I mean in terms of leadership. So they've been instrumental in leading efforts to respond to the challenges faced by children and young people across London. Cohesion, they've encouraged over 400 funders to sign up to the We Stand with the Sector pledge, which specifically supports the vulnerable, including young people. Expertise. When they initiated and coordinated the London Community Response Fund in March, their knowledge and experience gave funders the confidence that emergency grants would reach those on the front line in dealing with the pandemic in London. It started with just £5 million and has so far distributed a staggering £22 million. The fund has been a lifeline for many, especially member youth organisations within the London Youth Network. It is for these three excellent reasons that we believe London funders are worthy recipients of this year's Prince Philip Award. It's not just to recognise their support, but also our way of expressing our heartfelt thanks to all the funders. Never, ever underestimate what your support means and how much it is appreciated. To receive the award on behalf of London funders is their chair, who is also the Director and Chief Grants Officer at City Bridge Trust. Please acknowledge and welcome David Farnsworth.
Our thanks to London Youth for this award and to His Royal Highness for his recognition of our work. As Chair of London Funders, I know how hard our small team of 4 worked during the crisis to ensure the response of the funding community was effective. And it's great to hear the positive feedback from the voluntary youth sector about the impact this had on their work. We know how vital civil society is to ensuring children and young people in London can thrive. We knew this before the pandemic, but have seen throughout the last 6 months how the commitment, expertise and inspiration of the voluntary youth sector has helped people deal with the challenges they've faced. We're proud to have played our part in supporting such amazing people. As the pandemic reached London, we wanted to act quickly, letting civil society know that we as funders are on the same side in supporting our communities. Over 400 funders came together to sign the London Funders Statement, We Stand with the Sector. Through this, we committed to being flexible with our funding, ensuring we met the community's needs. In my day job as Director of City Bridge Trust, I was speaking with a youth group this week who commented that this statement had helped give them the confidence to carry on, and that they felt that funders had become real partners through these difficult times. We hope this impact will help strengthen all of our work for the long term. We also recognise that flexibility on its own wasn't enough. There was the need to step up to ensure that new funding flowed quickly and effectively to meet emerging needs, particularly through the crisis, but also as we look to the sustainability of the sector. We're proud that 65 funders came together through London Funders and the London Community Response to offer one gateway to apply for a grant. We launched this 4 days after lockdown started, and since then, over £42 million of new funding has been distributed to groups across London. It's great to hear from London Youth's members that this funding was a lifeline to help them continue through the crisis, and we're committed to working with the funding community to sustain and strengthen our approach to collaboration through the months and years ahead. Our thanks again to London Youth and its members, not just for this award, but for the incredible work you do with children and young people across our communities. London Funders and our membership look forward to continuing to work with you in the years ahead to ensure we are real partners in achieving positive change for young Londoners.
Congratulations to London Funders, and thank you all for your vital support you give to London Youth Sector. We're all here because Youth Week has played an important part in our lives. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, and I'd like to take a moment to recognise the huge amount of support that youth organisations right across London have provided to young people, our communities and our city. Here's what some London Youth members have been up to this year.
COVID-19 changed a lot for us.
And it seemed like our plans were lost for a long time.
But video chat after video chat, we were determined to make it work.
The year started well. One of our senior players won silver at 2 European Championships. COVID-19 has been tough on everyone, but we kept in touch with all the players and busy keeping fit with home workouts.
When the lockdown was initiated and it limited our contact with our young people, it was quite testing. It was quite strange actually initially. We were so used to operating a particular type of way and being able to engage with our young people through our sessions and through our programs. So when obviously Boris made the call and asked us all to stay home to lift the burden off the NHS, it did motivate us to adapt to the situation. We still realised that there were kids at risk, and our priority was to make sure that they still felt engaged, they still felt cared for, and they were still being occupied through this period, so they didn't feel alone.
Having everything change over one night was quite overwhelming because all of a sudden I wasn't allowed to leave my house, I couldn't see my friends, I couldn't see my family. It was not great.
Back because it got repetitive every day, like having to do the same things, and it was just so long.
I didn't really know what to do. It was just brand new, because then it's like you can do everything and then it goes from like you can do everything to do nothing.
A few of our young people have been volunteering their time to deliver much needed food to their immediate community. Going forward, we want to get even more of our youth club members involved with the food deliveries. These started once we had a significant surge in the amount of community members relying on our food pantry. This is when a small group of youth club members stepped in to help. They were coming in twice a week to pack parcels and then deliver to their neighbors. Going forward, we want to expand this by not only bringing in more young people, but by providing them with more opportunities to develop life skills.
When COVID hit, I was a little bit panicky about how we'd be able to provide support remotely, but actually really seems to have transitioned really well. Aaliyah, I've met Solomon and Lily in person before, but I've never met you in person. So how have you found that?
By having the online sessions actually helped me and benefited me. This is because like when I was having the sessions like in the formal setting, I wasn't able to vocalize what I wanted to say as like to the professional, as like I just felt uncomfortable. But having the space and time to actually sit down in my own environment and speak to a youth worker has actually helped me and get through the issues that I've actually had during COVID-19, as like more situations came about as we were locked inside. So by having an individual to speak to on a weekly or daily basis actually benefited me.
Public youth services have been shifted due to the pandemic. As a result of COVID-19, we have found new creative ways to support our young people. For example, Leader Be is now online, we do it via Zoom. Our youth have done different projects to engage their players in creating change. For instance, our first cohort made a video to encourage young people to talk to their families about mental health and to stigmatise the areas around it.
It's so good to hear directly from young people the issues facing them and how they've been supported through lockdown. We all know you are working with new guidance as we enter a second national lockdown, and this is a difficult time for our members and their young people. As before, all of the latest guidance and support will be available on our website, londonyouth.org. And you can also reach out to your membership development officers and our programme staff who are here to help guide you through it. Let's end tonight on a positive. From the same youth organisation that supported me to where I am today, a young Marco many years ago, let me welcome to the stage the very talented little Shakz.
Little Shakz. Argo Production. Yeah, I wanna be a rap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. I don't wanna be like Nines or Fredo. I just wanna be me and be the best. I don't just rap. Best know I live rap. 24 hours grinding, man, I did that. Tryna get a meal on a song, not Air Forces like dig that. You man do things just to say you did that. Just sit back. Painting on the left, man, she whip at. I said it once, I ain't gonna say it less. I just wanna be me and be the best. Might see me on the TV shutting down sets. Work like Riri, never get a rest. I'm just trying to tour in the south or the east or the north or the west. Shutting down shows till I'm drenched in sweat. They slept on me, but I'm not sleeping when it's time for bed. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Life ain't a game like Monopoly. Where I'm from, people going through the poverty. It really bothers me. Cause you got a chain on your neck and you drip and flex. You're the man that the youngers wanna be. Yeah, the youngers turn into you when people turn into them. Then they're whipping the Benz and then they're shot in the pebs. Buying drip but your mum's still stuck in the end. Vicious cycle, I don't think that it's gonna end. The truth is, I don't really rate it. How you trapping on the road for some trainers. Making money on the road but you raced it. Go help your margin, pay off the rent. When I jump on the beat, man, I damage it. Them man there, yeah, they don't make a dent. Them man there, yeah, they don't make a dent. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Little Shakz, yeah, I'm gonna be a rap star. On the block, I ain't tryna be a trap star. Yeah, I wanna be a rap star. On the block. Argo Production. Yeah, I wanna be a rap star.